What's up, gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. So first of all, happy 2026 for all of you. All my best wishes. So in this one, we're going to break down a Reddit post from a gentleman that argues that we don't have actually as much control over our dating lives as that we would like to think. And I picked this one specifically because many men nowadays feel frustrated, they are upset, and they feel that they just have no control over their dating lives whatsoever. And when men feel uncomfortable, they are often not even looking for a solution. They are more looking for an explanation as to why they are not succeeding or getting the results that they want. And you can definitely see this in this post. So let's break it down for you guys. So he says, we don't have as much control over our dating outcomes as we would like to think. I see this constant rhetoric about people struggling with dating, and the number one assumption I see is they must have a bad personality. They must not take care of themselves. These things can be true in some people's cases, but it's wild to me how across the board these assumptions are as if everyone struggling with dating has issues. You could be good-hearted, well-groomed and self-taken care of person and still struggle for one reason or another. Dating is so much more random and right place, right time than many would like to admit. People will strike out and immediately correlate whatever change they happen to make around the time to the dating outcome itself and preach their solution as gospel. You could definitely do things to improve your chances or just grow into a better person irrespective of dating outcomes. But to pretend we have this much control of whether someone is attracted to us or not, to the point where we make negative assumptions on someone's character is ridiculous, borderline sadistic. Imagine your personal character being called into question because some people don't find you sexually attractive. Think about how fucked that sounds for a second. So the core idea behind this whole post is basically one thing, which is that dating is totally random, that it's all about timing and chance and luck, and that if you are a good person who takes good care of himself, that things will just work out naturally. And this is basically other words for saying, well, just be yourself and then things should work itself out naturally. But now let me ask you a question. If being yourself was enough in dating, then why are there men out there, not super good looking, that have a ton of women, but most men have nothing? Because you will often see that guys that are just average looking, they have the most women and they have the most action in their dating lives. So how could that be the case if being yourself is supposedly good enough for you? The answer to that question could basically only be one thing, which is that some men behave in a way that attracts women, while others behave in a way that turns women off and makes them not want to hang out with them. It can ultimately only be boiled down to behavior. That's why men have different outcomes. There are men that know how the game works and there are men that don't. And that's not cruel or sadistic. That is just analysis and just an observation of what is going on. But that's not really the issue here, because if you acknowledge that that is what is happening, then you need to confront the uncomfortable part of your personality. And admitting that you have been making mistakes for years is very confronting for so many guys. Because most men build their personality, their ego, and their identity around this set of ideas that they have about themselves. They build their identity around the idea, for example, that being yourself should be good enough to attract the women that he wants. And when you have to admit this as a man, you have to start doing reflection on your behavior, and you have to say, well, probably I was just behaving weak to women for a very long time. I was needy, I was approval seeking. And that's a very big hit to the ego. And that's why you can see that nowadays so many men are latching onto these ideologies that are justifying their struggle in dating, like black pill, red pill, nationalism, or even many men that are turning to religion as a way to basically justify why men are not succeeding nowadays in the marketplace. And when you start to look into those ideologies, they are often selling the same thing to men, which is the society is rigged. I am fine as I am. The only thing that needs to change is the game. Women are the problem and modern society is corrupt. That's basically what a lot of those ideologies nowadays are selling to young men. And at the core of all of those ideas is only one thing, which is entitlement from men. It's basically the same as the being yourself trope, because that's the only reason that men can latch on to these ideas. Men feel as if the society or women in general, they owe them attraction and affection, because there is no other way for men to justify this kind of thinking. Because the truth about modern dating is that it's competitive. It's not like back in the day that women had very few options to pick from. And modern dating is competitive because women don't need men anymore for economic provisioning. So the only thing that you can do as a man is just to become better and to just start doing better so that you can get the results that you want. But most men don't want to do that because that requires change. And changing and becoming a better man, that requires having tough conversations with yourself. And it requires you looking in the mirror and say, I haven't been doing as well as that I could through all of those years. And most men are not mentally strong enough to have that conversation with themselves. Now, in this case, this gentleman says, well, it's borderline sadistic to look at it from that perspective. But it's just acknowledging reality. And from my perspective, there is no better way to express love than to be very honest with people. And to also encourage others to become better. Because if you're going to believe a perspective like this, like, oh, women just should love me for who I am, you're not going to become a better guy. You will just stay forever stagnant. But the reason that he says that it's sadistic is not because he wants honesty. It's because modern men want comfort. Because all of these ideologies nowadays, they are selling men nothing but comfort. They are not selling men, hey, you should become better so that you can get the results that you want in your dating life. And that you can become a happier person as a result of that. And I'm not going to pretend here that I am immune to all of this. Because there was also times in my life that I believed, well, like, I'm just being myself. I should get the results. Like, I should get a beautiful girlfriend. And I also started to look for explanations, and then I stumbled into ideologies. And because at that time I didn't have better answers, I also fell for it. But in my case, at least, at some point I told myself, well, man, like, you're not getting results, so you're just not doing something right. That's it. And that's basically when I started working with a coach, and I started to change my behavior and level up my look and doing whatever I could to become as attractive as I could and get as many conversations with women as I possibly could. And now fast forward many years later, I have been on hundreds of dates and I don't feel frustrated with dating whatsoever. And that was not just from luck or randomness. It's because I chose to become that guy. I chose to have tough conversations with myself. Or as I like to say, I took radical responsibility for my results and I never outsourced it to other people. And of course, the timing and chance, it plays a role, but it's not like 90% like this gentleman argues. It's more like 5 or 10%. Because 90% of your dating results is how you show up in dating and how you behave. If there is a dam in the river, then the water doesn't flow. But when you remove the blockage, all of a sudden everything changes. Because water will start to flow and it will start to become wet on the other side as well. And that dam and that blockage is ultimately your behavior. So let 2026 be the year that you stop hiding behind ideologies or belief systems that are doing nothing to improve yourself as a man and that do not help you to get dating results. They only justify failure. So that's it, guys. Subscribe to the channel. If you're ready to start taking action in your dating life and get the results that you want this year, then feel free to book a call with me with the link in the bio. And that's it, guys. Peace.